portraits feel overwhelming, you're in the right place. Today we're going to deconstruct the face into simple shapes anyone can create. No experience needed. This whole process is about letting go of perfection, embracing play, and discovering how expressive a portrait can be with just a few intentional lines. In my last video, I talked a lot about deconstructing the face, and we broke down the face into individual features so that they would be more accessible, easier to draw, and we would have less distraction and less anxiety about approaching faces. So what I'm doing here is I'm just drawing a variety of different sized eyes, noses, and mouths. If you weren't able to watch the first video or the last video, I'll link to it in the description below because I'm doing a series of faces and portrait drawing videos that you might want to watch. And this is the third in a series. The last one was about deconstructing faces and drawing the individual features, eyes, nose, mouths, and I will link to that video and you can check it out. In that video, I just explained a little bit about demystifying how we go about drawing the structures of the eyes, nose, and mouth, and just kind of making it a little bit of an easier process. And today I don't want anybody to stress out about how we do them. I just want you to draw a variety of each in different sizes and shapes. And then we're just going to simply cut them out. These do not have to be perfect, just have fun making them, and we are going to hop into a really fun exercise as soon as you get them cut out in your pairs. I meant to tell you to make your eyes in pairs, but don't stress out if they're not perfect. This is not an exercise about perfection. It's simply a really fun and intuitive, playful exercise that we're going to be doing next. So now I'm drawing an oval with a little neck. So I'm drawing like a portrait style head. And now I'm going to play. So now we're going to try on different eyes, different noses, different mouths, different shaped and sizes. I'm going to put them in different positions and see how they look. Different widths on the eyes, different orientations, and just see like how much that expression changes every time we move things around. I'm going to try different hairdos. I made some detachable bangs. Everything you do will change the expression. And this is so much fun. And this is one of the reasons I always say collage will teach you so much about composition. And so it's super simple just to move the things around rather than to redraw it every single time. So have fun with this exercise and really be creative with it. You could have one of the mock-ups be more feminine with a thinner jawline and neck, and one more masculine. Really play and have fun with this. So this clip is sped up, but I am just doing a quick sketch. I think I have a photo reference in front of me to do this little portrait of a woman. And I'm doing this sketch just very loosely and lightly. And I'm just trying to get in all the basic information to the best of my ability. I'm just blocking things in here. And I'm just trying to get the eyes, nose, mouth in the right place. I do have a photo reference, but I'm not trying to be especially true to that. So for instance, we're not trying to be perfect here. It doesn't have to be a likeness of the photograph. We're just using it as a reference. So we want to know that the eyes, nose, mouth are in approximately the right place, and we want to just get down the basic information. Today I'm going to be painting with gouache, and because it has white paint included in the palette, I'll be able to create some really nice tints and opaque colors, which is really nice because then when we go in, we can paint and correct mistakes, or if things are too dark. I really love gouache. It's a little bit, I always think of it as a little bit between watercolor and acrylic, and you do want to work with something that dries quickly. So watercolor, gouache, or acrylic are really good for these studies. When I'm creating face tones, I like to use different earth tones and a little bit of different types of red, and then I create a beige using white to create my face tints. So in this one, I was creating a beige using yellow ochre, and I can't remember which red I used for this one. It looks like I used a scarlet red, and I mixed that up. And then by using white, I created a beige. And so the lightest tones of beige, I went around pretty much the whole face, and I got all those very light values in. Now that first layer always looks like an alien, okay? So please don't get nervous if yours looks like an alien too. So we just want to get in those lightest lights. That's the first layer, and it always looks crazy. So don't get scared if yours looks crazy too. And then as you put in the later layers, things start to look a little bit better. We're going to go in and start looking for the darker values. Okay, so there's usually one side of the face that is lighter and one side that is darker, and then we're going to look for all the shadow places as well. There's always going to be shadows, below the hairline. There's going to be shadows under the chin and on the neck, and places like just below the chin, around the hairline, things like that, just under the nose. Usually there's little places. It depends on how the light is hitting the face. If it's coming from the side, from the front, it depends. Those are all different ways. Now, when you come in to do the eyes, that's when things start to really look alive, okay? So like when you put the pupil in, leave a little dot of white for the pupil, it really enlivens the face. You can see how much that second layer of flesh tone really kind of evened everything out. It put in a lot of highlights and shadows, and it really smoothed everything out. Now, the other thing is to kind of push yourself a little bit when you're painting the face, because you won't overthink things if you're pushing yourself to go a little faster. Your work will be more spontaneous, and you won't overthink it. The last part, or the final part of these portraits, is to just finish up any kind of detail work. Really look at the values in the face, the difference between light and dark. Finish up any kind of detail work that you need to do, and then finalize that. You can really do whatever you want as far as the details on, your outfits, etc., the backgrounds. But right now we're really trying to nail down faces. So that's all extra stuff, and you can really do these any way you'd like. But as far as the faces, go do a quick first pass with a flesh tone, and you want to do a lighter version no matter what ethnicity or skin tone the person has. Go back with some lights and darks and the basic features. And then the last pass, you're going to get in there and, do final detailing, tighten everything up as far as lights, darks, highlights, anything like that. And then you're going to be done, because you want these to be loose, spontaneous studies, and you want to do a lot of them. So I just added some really funky details. I added a little flower. I created my own background. Sometimes I just take off on my own with these. I created her outfit, the background. I just have a lot of fun with these, and I just use the photograph sometimes as a jumping off point. So there are no rules, and I want you to play, have fun, and really enjoy the process, because that's the most important part when we're making art. So at the very end, I came in, I added some shadows. I looked at the values very carefully. I wanted to add I saw some little freckles I thought would be so cute that I wanted to add. I added some additional highlights and lowlights on her face that I wanted to bring out. These little details can add so much to a painting. And so even though this is just a study, I sometimes will take these little studies and bring them forward into a more finished painting. So that's why I sometimes go back and really look at them and finish them off this way. And I really thought this one came out cute, and maybe I will go back to it at some point later. When you're doing your sketch, you just want to get in your basic details, blocking your oval, your neck. You want to just get the basic details down. Don't expect everything to be perfect. Get everything down to your best ability, and then just go on to the next part. And really pushing yourself to go a little faster will help with that process. So sometimes I just like a little something fun. So I added the little bird. There was no bird in the picture. I have a reference picture, but there was no bird there. I just like to add a bird sometimes. So I had a grandmother who had a little bird, a little parakeet, who used to like to sit on her head or on her shoulder, and she would hand crochet little handkerchiefs with lace around the edge, and that's what they would sit on. So they wouldn't mess on her, They had to sit on a little handkerchief. So anyway, that's why I add the bird in honor of my grandmother. When I'm mixing the flesh tones, I very often use different earth tones and different reds to create these different flesh tones. And on this first pass on this particular one, I went in with a darker value plan on one side of the face, just because this particular one had a very strong light reference with the light source coming from one side. So in this case, I wanted the entire face to go down wet so it would blend nicely in the first pass. You can see how I have several different values and mixtures on the palette. So I used a scarlet red, a burnt umber, the yellow ochre, and white to mix all the colors that I'm using on that face. While I'm working on the other areas, it kind of gives my eyes a break on the face. So then when I go back to it for the final pass, I'm able to really look at the values more closely. So it's kind of like I'm tricking myself a little bit. So I do first pass, which is the basic color, the one that kind of looks almost alien. Then I put in a second coat where I'm getting some more details, some of the other values in. Then I might do some other things around the painting. I go into some of the other areas and stuff. And then when I go back to the face like I just did there, I'm going back in with fresh eyes. So I can really see more of the details with a fresher perspective because I've been away from, that closely intense viewing of it. So look, see, work your way around the painting, give your eyes a little bit of a rest, and it will really help the entire process while you're working. And don't forget, we're not trying to be perfect here. We're trying to practice, improve, and enjoy the process of making art. The longer you practice, the more your art will improve and continue to evolve.